Today, Professor Manoj Kumar will talk about sustainable development, definition, measures, and determinants. During the last decades, we have observed a remarkable surge of concern about the sustainability of the economic development over the long. As a result, considerable effort has been invested in the design of analytical framework that can be used to think about the policy that promotes sustainable growth. This task has implied several methodological challenges ranging from trying to define what is meant by the sustainable development to operationalize the definition and designing objective indicators that can be used to monitor it. This chapter has three objectives. The first is to introduce methodological issues about definition and measurement of the sustainable development. The second objective is to define a set of macro flags that can be used to monitor the sustainable development and analyze their dynamics during the past 2 decades. And the third objective is to better understand what are the factors that explain why some countries tend to make more intensive use of their natural resources base. This is a topic that has received little or no attention in the empirical literature, and yet it is important for the assessment of sustainable growth. The chapter is organized in 5 sections. Section 2 is concerned with the definition. Section 3 and 4 concerned with the measurement. Finally, section 5 is concerned with the empirical analysis of dynamics of the depletion rates. What do you mean by the sustainable development? It is safe to state that there is not a single commonly accepted concept of the sustainable development, how to measure it, or even less on how it should be promoted. There are, in my opinion, two major views on the subject. On one hand, we have the economist view that associated sustainability with the preservation of the status and function of the ecological system. On the other hand, we have the economics that consider the sustainability is about the maintenance of the improvement of the human living standard. In the words of the Robert Solow, if sustainability is anything more than a slogan or expression of the emotion, it must amount to an injection to a preserve productive capacity for the indefinite future. Hence, while in the ecologist view, natural resources have a value that goes beyond their productive use and cannot be substituted by other forms of the capital. Within the economics view, the natural resources can be consumed and substituted by other forms of the capital as long as the productive capacity to be maintained. The World Commission on the Environment and Development defines sustainable development as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the need for future generation to meet their own needs. Thomas 99 better describes the reactions of both the economists and ecologists to this definition. If one accepts that there is some collective responsibility of the stewards owe it to the future generation, that kind of the social capital needs to be internationally transferred to meet that obligation. One view to which many economists would be inclined is that all resources of the natural, thus the large-scale damage to the ecosystem, such as degradation of the environmental quality, loss of the species of the diversity, widespread deforestation, or global warming, are not intrinsically unacceptable. From this point of view, the question is whether compensatory investment for future generation are responsible or undertaken. This suggests that if one is able to identify what are the determinants of these needs and what types of the resources are required to satisfy these needs, one should in principle determine which resource to transfer. An alternative view to embraced by many ecologists and some economists is that such compensatory investment often are unfeasible as well as ethically indefensible. Physical laws are seen as limiting to the extent to which other resources can be substituted for ecological degradation. Health ecosystem, including those that provide genetic diversity, is relatively unmanaged environment, are seen as offering realism against the unexpected change of preserving option for the future generation. One approach to the view of the economist and ecologist together is to assume that the individual drive welfare from his preference for consumption, environmental quality, and social health, thus ruling out perfect substitution. Thus being the case, it is plausible to pollutate the existence of a social welfare function that incorporates indicator of the consumption, environmental quality, and social stability. Then a sustainable development path can be defined as the one that maximizes the present value of the intertemporal social function. In other words, a given set of economic, environmental, and social indicators should be aggregated into a single indicator that become a universal measure of the sustainability. Policies could then be evaluated with respect to the impacts that we have no that kind of indicator. An example of this type of indicator is the human development. The indicator essentially represents the average life expectancy, literacy, and income per capita, and the published annually in the Human Development Report. Within this framework, an indicator of sustainability is the genuine saving rate of the economy given by SI, GDPI, 1 minus CI, KT, delta K, NRIR, minus NT, ST, GDPI. Where CI is the share of the GDP, gross consumption, KT, delta K is the depreciation of the stock produced capital during the period, NT is the amount of the natural resources environmental during the period, R is the regeneration rate, and in the investment in the human capital, as we discuss in the next section, data is available to compute ST. On the basis of 2.1, I provide the big definition of the sustainable global path. Measuring the wealth of the nation. To assess the sustainability on the basis of our big definition, we need to information on a stock and follow investment and consumption of the produced human and natural capital. Measuring the stock of produced human and natural capital in countries across the world in the extremely difficult task. The World Bank undertook this task during 1995 and come up with estimates of the total wealth for a group of the 108 country. And figure 2.1 summarizes this composition of the wealth of the nation in the world. Natural, produced, and human resources. The figure displays stock of the total wealth per capita and its composition. By and large, the world distribution of the wealth, total wealth per capita, number of the country, total wealth per capita, GNP per capita, world production function, measuring produced capital and the human capital, distribution of produced capital in the world, distribution of human capital in the world, measuring natural capital. Dynamics of investment in human capital and produced capital. Economic development and the depletion rate.